Well, it's December 11th, 2015, and the temperature tonight is probably in the mid-50s. And believe it or not, I'm heading out to Montauk. There's been a lot of herring around. The South Shore, Montauk, and even the North Shore has seen a lot of herring. And in the past, at this time of year, if we get this kind of weather, it can mean the biggest fish of the year. So tonight we may not catch anything. It's a very risky proposition to go out to Montauk and fish in the middle of the night. But the rewards, oh my God, they can be very high. Which reminds me of a little story back in 1990, I think, or 91 or something like that. It was when the Super Strike Darter first came out. The plastic Super Strike Darter. I was fishing in Montauk, and we had 55 knot southwest winds. So if you're on the north side of Montauk, the wind is actually at your back. South side, it will be in your face. So south side's unfishable. So I'm bouncing around on the north side, and back then you could drive all the way around to Oyster Pond Cove and the Shagwan. So eventually I made my way around Stepping Stones, Clark's Cove, Oyster Pond, and I hit the Stepping Stones, and I see this guy dragging a huge monster fish. He's like, "Oh, you got a scale?" And I had a manly. We weighed it. I think it was like 44 pounds. He's like, the bass have the herring pushed up to the beach. Now, this is like mid-December. This was like December 14th. He goes, the bass have the herring pushed up to the beach. All you need is a yellow Super Strike Darter. And at the time, all I had was a Gibbs yellow darter. And there was like 8 or 9 guys lined up, and they're all catching monster fish. I don't think anything was under 40 pounds, but certainly not under 35 pounds. 35 pounds and up, most of them mid-40 fish. Just one after. They were plowing the fish, man. It was unbelievable. So, you know, I was young at the time, and I thought I was such a badass or whatever. And so I get my bomber out. I'm like, I'm going to show these guys. I was throwing my bomber, you know. So I start throwing a bomber. And bombers, I don't even think had been around that long at the time. So I'm the only one not hooking up on the beach. So this goes on for like a half hour. And finally I go back to my buggy and I get a yellow Gibbs darter. Which is, you know, I mean, you look at a yellow Gibbs and a Super Strike, they're essentially, they look about the same. So I'm throwing the Gibbs, and I'm the only one still not hooking up with fish. So this goes on another 15, 20 minutes, not a friggin' hit. Everybody else hooking up monster fish. I'm like, it's got to be my darter. It's not swimming right. But I didn't have any Super Strike darters, man. So I go back to the truck. I get another Gibbs darter. I start throwing a Gibbs darter. And nothing. Not a friggin' single fish the entire night. And the whole beach, well, the whole beach, we're talking, you know, maybe 8 guys, you know, lined up in a tight, it was a pretty tight formation, you know, maybe 8 guys lined up, you know, 30 yards because the fish were right in one specific spot. But everybody had fish over 40 pounds at night. Not me. I couldn't even get a friggin' touch, not one touch. You know what the difference was? Super Strike and the Gibbs. Super Strike was just digging a little bit more than the Gibbs. I think that was the main thing because I was throwing yellow. They were throwing yellow. They didn't want the bomber. I mean, it is a night that has haunted me for years. And tonight is one of the best nights I've had since then, probably to fish this bite during the herring run. You know, less fish now than then, but, you know, just the thought of it just turns my stomach. I mean, turns my stomach in a good way, man. I'm freaking psyched. Yeah, because, you know, you get into a herring bite, and it would be redemption from that night that I missed those fish. You know, I'm going to get them tonight.